Hi, everybody. I'm Herb Crone, and this is another edition, a really special edition of the Best of Broadway, because I have 4 theater students from MSU's theater department, seniors who will be graduating, and they're going to talk about their careers here at MSU, their future plans, how they all get along with each other. This should be a really fun show. It's always fun for me to have MSU theater students here on the Best of Broadway, but usually they are accompanied by a very serious director who kind of keeps you guys in line, but there is no serious director here today. And so we're just going to talk about your career, your life at MSU, and shows you've done together, and how you guys get along, and what your futures hold for you. So starting over here, we've got Jake McInerney. Welcome, Jake.
Hello, Herb. How are you?
That's good. And what shows have you been in that audience folks might remember you in?
Most recently, I was in Les Mis, which was back in October of this year. I was in Legally Blonde, Spring Awakening, The Mandrake, Spam-A-Lot during the summer, this last summer, and Grand Night for Singing.
The list goes on and on.
Yeah, a ton of other ones. So
favorite show?
Favorite show at MSU? Or,
yes.
Okay, ever. Let's see. I would have to go with Spring Awakening, I think.
All right. Okay. Next, we have Kaitlin Dahlquist.
Hello.
And how would audiences remember the performances you were in?
They'll probably most remember me as either Fantine in Les Mis back in October, or the Lady of the Lake in Spam-A-Lot this last summer, or as Christine in the Phantom of the Opera.
All right. Sounds good. And your favorite show?
Oh, gosh. Probably Spam-A-Lot.
Over Phantom of the Opera.
Yes. It was just so silly. They're completely different shows.
Oh, and we should talk about that in a minute. But we'll move on to Callie Syverson.
Hello, Herb.
How you doing?
Good.
All right.
Well,
shows.
let's see.
How would we know you?
Probably. Well, the last show we just did was Les Mis, and I played Eponine, but pretty much everyone didn't know who I was because I was wearing this brunette wig, and I'm a blonde in real life, so people kind of were confused. But other people will recognize me as Elle Woods from Legally Blonde. I played Maria in Sound of Music, Venla in Spring Awakening. It's a lot of fun shows that we've gotten to take part of. So.
Favorite role?
That's hard. I don't know. I feel bad, but I feel like I can't even give a show because every single show did something different for me.
Okay, cool.
You know, I would say dramatically, Spring Awakening really challenged me as an actor. Fun wise, it was a blast to do Legally Blonde.
All right, and then we have last but not least Sam Stoll.
Hello.
Hello, Sam.
How's it going?
Good.
Shows. Probably remember me in Rent. I was Mark Cohen. Spring Awakening, I was Moritz. Legally Blonde, I was Emmett. This summer, I was blessed with 3 different shows: 39 Steps, Grand Night for Singing, and Spam-A-Lot, which is just a hoot. And then, of course, Les Mis this fall, which was great.
So I got to mention to you guys, both of you, and Kaitlin too, but you weren't your role wasn't funny necessarily, but you guys were just a hoot. Mm-hmm. And when you played was it the prince who was about to be married?
The very feminine prince.
I was just falling off my chair.
It was
God, that
really,
was hysterical.
Really fun role, and I've never gotten to play a comedy role like that, and I miss it. It was a blast.
And then I think, and you, Jake, I think weren't you the knight that said knee?
Yes, I was the knight who said knee, and Tim the Enchanter, and Lancelot, and what else did I play? I can't even remember. There's so many. And the French Taunter, and some other ones. Yeah.
We just listened to the final number of Spring Awakening, which was, well, Kaitlin, why don't you kind of explain what that show was about in just a few seconds?
Oh, gosh, in a few seconds. Okay. Well, I think it's really kind of a story about finding out who you are as a person and just growing up and figuring out what you believe in. Mm-hmm. It's really just a coming-of-age story.
And Callie, where is the show set?
It's set?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Wasn't it in the 1800s?
1890s Germany.
Yeah. It's Well, because it's all about like what it was like for the youth of that day and age, discovering their sexuality, who it was to be that, like, their selves, like, and like education was so emphasized at that time that
So much pressure.
it was angsty. I mean, Hustles constantly would just say angst the entire time we did the show, and it was just really about everyone finding themselves.
Now, while we were off air for a second, Kaitlin, you were talking about working with the director of that show to figure out your character. We never talk about that kind of thing when the director's here. Yeah. So what's the process like when you're trying to figure out what your character is?
Well, I think what I really like to do is I really like to kind of research on my own and kind of come to the first rehearsal with a little bit of a character in mind and kind of portray what I'm feeling to my director. And then they can pick and choose what they like and don't like and tell me, give me pointers based on that. But I always like to give them something to work with, something that I've really researched and come up with by myself.
And other times when you and the director, Sam, conflict with what you think your character should be?
Well, sometimes you just have to, if there's a disagreement, you have to say, this is what I think, what do you think? And sometimes you can meet middle ground, and sometimes you kind of have to do a give and take, because it's really a lot of what the director says, but at the same time, the actor needs to connect. So it has to be a mutual understanding so that, the part can still be played.
Okay.
And it's actually interesting because the slot that Spring Awakening is in, there's a lot of breaks. And so we would have Christmas break, and then we'd have another break. And so you constantly have to revisit the material, which is great because you have to keep digging deeper. And it was really interesting how our characters developed.
Okay, great. So there's a lot of work to doing a show. Yeah. My gosh. I mean, we folks on the outside, the audience members, I don't think we can imagine how much work it is to be doing what you guys are doing. And you guys have gone together for the last 4 years. But sometimes, you guys are competing for roles. So, Jake, talk about that a little bit, what that's like competing with your friends.
Well, what's kind of cool, actually, is that whenever we go up for different roles, and if we both want the same role, it really doesn't matter. Like for Sam and I, for example, we both have kind of the same type. We both kind of have the same look. We have slightly different skill sets in different places, but basically we're always going for the same roles.
You are.
But what's really nice is that because we both respect each other so much, we can look past the wanting the role and desiring that, and just being like, well, you know what, we're both going to be really professional and respectful about this, and best man gets it, best man wins, whatever. It's just sort of like that mentality. Yeah. And afterwards we both are like, okay, hey, congratulations, whoever got the role, whatever, and it's just a mutual understanding that it's not personal.
Well, and it's really interesting because there have been shows where, like, for example, Spring Awakening, we went for opposite roles and got the other roles.
Yeah.
I went for Melchior, he went for Moritz, and we got flipped.
Yeah.
And so it's funny. And actually, I bet you if we looked back and we looked at all the roles we've been in, it's pretty equal, because there's been roles where, like, we've gone for the same role and one of us gets it and the other doesn't, and then the next time the other one gets it, or else, a lot of shows we've played opposite of each other. You know what I mean? Legally Blonde, we were the two guys. Spring Awakening, we were the two guys.
Yep. Spamalot, we're married.
We were gay lovers. It's been wonderful, because it's as much as, like, it's good to compete against the same people and also good to compete against people you don't know. It's nice when you get to work with someone over and over because you're comfortable. You already know. We know how to work with each other, and it's same with all four of us. It's just been really fun working with each other.
So, Callie, has there ever been a role that you really wanted that somebody else, like maybe Kaitlin or somebody else got?
Actually, I was just going to say, the one thing that I've just always had perspective-wise, and it's just fantastic because, okay, first I just got to go a little back. Kaitlin and I have always just, like, been such tight of friends that, like, it's funny because, like, for example, with a show like Phantom of the Opera, we spent hours in practice rooms practicing the same stuff
together
for the same role.
Oh.
And actually, funny story, we were doing this pre-audition thing for Phantom of the Opera because he needed to know that he had the voices for that show. And Kaitlin almost didn't do it. And I said, Kaitlin, I will come over to your house and grab you and bring you into that room
Really?
to audition. And she got Christine Dahi.
Huh.
And just like, I think it's the fact that I believe that when you go into an audition, it's not your choice what happens, and it's not your friend's choice what happens. It's the director's choice. And so I think if you have that mentality, you can't be hurt. And I think so long as you respect one another enough and each other's crafts, no feelings should be hurt. And you shouldn't ever be like hurt based off of an audition and bring that out on others that didn't make that decision. You know what I mean? So
And what else that I love so much is just because all of us are so close, you have that feeling of like you want your friends to succeed, as, like maybe even more than you want yourself to succeed. And so knowing that even if my friend is upset that they didn't get the role that they want, knowing that I know that they still support me and I still support them because our friendship is so strong and I care about them so much, just really helps the situation a whole lot. And like, I know Callie and I, when Jake brought up like different skill sets, like Callie and I have talked, because we go against each other, and because we are so similar in type, and we were so mad yesterday in class because it was our pretty much last chance of ever doing a scene together in class, and we weren't paired together. We were
we were like holding hands because
I know.
we just literally, because we're so alike in type and all that kind of stuff, he's just never put us together in a scene in class, and so we've never really gotten to actually work in
together,
that kind of setting
unless we're in a show. But Callie and I spent like hours talking about, you know, Phantom of the Opera and Legally Blonde, for example, and just talked about how, because of my classical training background, how I was probably the better choice for that, whereas Callie comes from such a musical theater pop background that belting is her strong suit. And so, like,
so we
those
all have
roles,
these like skill sets that are completely
match each
different,
other.
and even though we might be the right same type, but we're completely still like our own individual,
person.
you know.
And it really comes down to like enjoying watching each other perform too, because really it's not about the resume, the roles that we have in a resume, as much as it will maybe help us in the future. Like, as much as like maybe I want to get cast in a certain role and then say Jake gets it, I'm going to enjoy seeing Jake do it, because theater isn't about how many roles you have or what part you play. If it's more lines than the other, it's not about that, you know?
Yeah.
It's about telling the story, and whoever tells the story the most effective way, cast them, you know? I would love to see Sam get a role over me if I think he can do it better. That's the thing, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what it really comes down to.
Well, and the cool thing about college too is it allows us to grow by learning from one another. And so like, I can't like sit in this room and say that I haven't learned from, you know, something from each one of you. Like, there's just, I've learned so much from my peers, almost as much as my professors have taught me, which is just something to be said about like the talent in this department. But
Amazing. Thanks, guys. That was really fun just to listen to talk about that. And super job. So you guys want to talk about friendships, and Callie, start with you.
well, I was just talking to Kaitlin during that little break about how we always laugh a little bit when people see Kaitlin and I, like as incoming freshmen, they just kind of expect that we're going to hate each other.
if they're not getting us confused, because lots of people get us confused.
A lot of us, it's like, I don't know how many times a week I get a tap. Kaitlin? Oh, no, never mind.
That's
but like, it's great because like, I think the only way you can be in this life form, theater, is to be friends and to get along. And obviously we're all, not perfect and we're human beings and we have feelings and things like that. But I think it's so much more fun to do theater when you're doing it with people you love,
Absolutely.
So look at that.
No, but for sure. I mean, the roles that I think I've enjoyed the most haven't been because of the role. I think it's been the cast.
Mm-hmm.
I would say my two favorite shows here have been Rent and Spring Awakening because the cast were so just tight. Like, it was just great. Like, and I have some of the best memories. And, those are the shows that you wish would never close because you'll never have that same group of people again. And, like, I mean, you'll still see those people. And, like, the other thing that's nice about us is we're all friends. And, normally in the real world, like, we'll make friends in shows and we'll see them in shows. And then, we may hang out afterwards, but we might just go on our way. And we get to see each other all day long. I get to see these guys from 9 till 10:30 at night, and sometimes we get at each other's throats because we're like brothers and sisters, but it's such a blessing to be around each other that much, and we get to work in classes and in shows, and it's just fantastic.
We become a family.
Well, yeah, and the thing that I love the most is that because we're all friends, we can support each other throughout anything. We can support each other in class, we can support each other in rehearsals, we can support each other in performance. And I think that is what really allows us to learn, because we're at ease. We're at ease with everything, and then we can just absorb everything that we're doing. And I personally, I love it. I love being able to just relax, know that I'm with hardworking people that love the craft as much as I do, and want to produce something great and fun and just have a great time doing it, And
I know I'm cutting into Kaitlin talking too, but I just thought of something. Like when I was in high school, I had wonderful friends in high school, and but there's something about coming to college and being friends with people that have the same passion as you do.
Yeah.
And I'm not taking away from any other type of friendship, but there's something special that happens because you
connect
have
on
that
a
connection,
whole different level.
Yeah. And so I don't know, it just makes it really special. And the fact that we've gotten to do so many shows together, and specifically with these three, I feel like I haven't done a show without you guys. Like, this is probably the first time ever I'm not in a show with you guys. And you get each other, you get what you go through, at the end of the day when we're tired and stuff, we literally have each other's backs. Like, it's going to be fine, and we all have our bad days, and it's about cheering each other up and, just being that support system,
And you see growth, definitely. Like, that's a huge thing too. Like, I think back, it's funny to think, as people and also as performers, like back to freshman year, or when Kaitlin got here, it's like, it's just so interesting to see how much we've all grown, and it helps.
I was
bad.
It's amazing. It's so cool, though.
Yeah.
I'm just like.
Well, I have a question for Kaitlin.
Oh, gosh.
I'm sure that most of you are friends.
Yeah.
But let's face it, you can't like everybody.
Oh,
so have you ever been in a play with somebody you just really don't like very well? And
absolutely.
And
I'm not gonna lie, yeah. But it's not that I don't like them. It's more of our personalities don't exactly mesh well together. So sometimes it's not that I don't like them. I just maybe get annoyed with them sometimes and don't always like the choices that they're making, either if it's personal or if it's for the show. But I don't really have a hate towards anybody. It's more of an annoyance. And I guess, I don't know.
To go off of that, like, this is going to sound really, really cheesy, but I feel like the reason why, like, the four of us get along so well is we have the same, like, values in life. So it's about, like, loving each other, respecting each other, not being a diva. Like, there's this misconception with theater that being a diva gets you places, and in fact, it doesn't. It actually interferes with you going anywhere. And we've been blessed because, like, for example, Neil, our wonderful John Valjean, who was in Les Mis, he was such a fine example of, he would tell all of us, like, I have gotten the work that I have because I have created friendships in this business that will last forever. And I think that it like goes to show, like, what we're doing and what we have created is the right thing.
And I think it also helps. This is not as cheesy as what Callie said. Actually, it's kind of mean, but like, we've gotten to the point in our friendships now, and I just did this to Sam the other night, but it's like you can kind of like put each other in their places when they are doing something stupid or being worried about something.
What did I do? I don't even remember.
You're freaking about memorizing.
Oh, yeah.
But you can just, like, you can be there for them, but give them some tough love. And like with other people, you can't necessarily like be that honest without them freaking out or becoming a diva. So it's cool that, like, we can be jokey and really like, kind of put each other in their places when they're doing something stupid.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of nice because because we are such close friends, and because we can do that and we can be so blunt with each other. We, like Callie said before, we have taught each other, our peers have taught each other almost more than our instructors. It's amazing how much you can learn from the other people that are around you. So
Absolutely. Well, we thought we'd now talk about careers a little bit. And you guys are all going to be graduating. So let's just go down the line. Start with you, Jake. What's in your plan for the future?
Right now, both Kate and I are thinking about going to New York.
Preface: Kaitlin and Jake have been dating for a long time.
For a very long time. And so we're thinking we're probably going to go to New York and just test the waters and see what happens. We figured go big, go home. We
have a lot of people, good family friends that live out there already that we know, at least probably 6 people. So that's really nice too, to have a support system right when you go out there. And both of our families are really supportive. Not sure like when exactly we're going to be moving, depending on if we get in shows here or somewhere else over the summer. We might actually move in the summer, right after we graduate, or it could be in the next fall. So, but just in doing research, even shows that perform in, Florida and Missouri and all these other places, they all audition in New York. So it's just kind of a central place to be.
It's the Mecca.
Absolutely. Yeah. And there is an MSU grad who was out in New York and actually who's been cast in a musical that's on national tour. Mm-hmm. And is it one or once? It's
once.
Thank you. All
right.
Yeah.
And so she'll be coming back here to perform in the spring. So it's really exciting.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, Claire, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Callie, how about you? What's up in your future after you graduate this spring?
Very similar to Jake and Kaitlin. I, weirdly enough, have last summer I kind of debated back and forth, and I think it was because my mind was chickening out on me, but I think I've always known in my heart that I wanted to go to New York City, and just see what happens. And I don't know, too, like, just being in that city, there's something about, like, the heartbeat of the city that's so, like, drawing to me. I just want to be a part of that. Really, it is the musical theater central area for the U.S. That is where you go to really, and it's not just even, like, for Broadway necessarily, but, like, all the new works are kind of, formulating there. And there's a lot of auditions that you audition in New York City for things elsewhere. So it's just a good place, I think, for me as going into musical theater to be at. And talking to my parents, too, it was just like, for me, I think I would get really comfortable wherever I go. So might as well just go full throttle and take that huge, gigantic step to the Big Apple.
Before we get to you, Sam, are your parents afraid for your economic security being actors?
They've always known that, like, that's a part of the life we're going to lead. And, like, I think it just comes down to if you love it enough, you make it work.
Yeah. And, like, even talking to my parents, they've always said, we believe in you, we believe in your talent, and we know, like, even if you're not doing theater per se, you're such a hard worker, and no matter what you do, we know you're going to, like Callie said, make it work. So,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. And my dad just thinks I'm going to starve. So it's, it's best of both worlds, I guess. So, no.
That's why we have supportive friends, right?
No, yes. My family is very supportive as well. So,
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Sam, what are you going to do when you graduate?
As they all glare at me across the table, I actually will go to the cities for a little bit first, just because my parents have really helped me with school, economically, with money and all that. And I don't have the money personally to go to New York right now, and I feel like I need to, see what the cities has to offer first. I'm definitely going to put a time cap on that, so I make sure I go to New York, because I really feel like I need to go to New York, and I want to, and especially when I have a support system with all these friends.
You need to go.
I really want to, and I feel like, same as Callie, I feel that pull to go there. I know I'm going to do a new musical that they're writing in the cities in June. It's kind of a new workshop thing that they're working on, so that'll be fun. And Chanhassen always has great stuff to offer, but really when it comes down to it, it's just I'm going to audition everywhere I can, and who knows, maybe I'll end up in Seattle or Chicago, wherever it takes me, the roles and the jobs. So
all right, cool. All right, well, thanks, Sam. Well, anything folks would like to say to kind of close up today's really interesting show? Sam, you want to start with you?
Yeah, first, I think we just all want to say thank you, especially to you, for the amount of times that we've gotten to come on here on the show and have fun and really talk to people, and also just the Mankato community. It's been so great, like even just walking around town and people seeing you and spotting you out. And
All
just,
the time.
It does. Really.
And it's just such a
Yeah.
great support system. It really is. It's a wonderful community.
I just got hired at the Buckle, and one of the co-employees that I have, she comes up to me and she goes, "Were you Elle Woods?" I was like, "Yeah, I
Callie,
was."
Remember when we walked into Ulta and the lady like attacked us? She like literally ran to us and was like,
Yeah,
That's
that
scary.
same lady came up to me and my mom when we went into Ulta,
Yeah.
when she came up to visit and dragged me to Ulta.
Were you
Yeah.
shopping for makeup, Jake?
I was. 'Cause I wear
What?
makeup
Excuse me. What is Ulta?
occasionally.
It's a makeup store. Yes,
And
you know.
then-
So Jake.
Anyway,
anyway.
yeah, it's been a blessing.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
people that have.
And we just like thank the community so much for supporting the MSU's theater department because
Yeah.
And theater in general.
it's such a
Mhm.
gift to be able to do what we do. But it obviously wouldn't be the same if we didn't have you people who come and sit in those seats and watch our show night after night because it makes it so much more special for all of us. And it's just so cool that we have such an arts-loving community, and that doesn't always happen. And so we're very fortunate.
Yeah. I mean, the patrons of our theater are basically securing our education. They're making sure that we are educated through what we do. We wouldn't be able to have, 18 shows a year here unless we had such a huge fan base that was so loyal. So we just are really thankful for everyone that comes to see the shows, and we couldn't thank you enough.
And we thank you because of your talent. It makes it really exciting to go see a show at MSU, to see Spring Awakening or Les Mis or did I say Spring Awakening? Legally Blonde or Spamalot. Because we know it's going to be a good show. We all go to it and we love it. And it just really makes it a wonderful reason to live in Mankato because of the theater opportunities for us in the audience. I want to thank Kaitlin and Callie and Jake and Sam for being on the Best of Broadway today.